What's up, YouTube? This is Rochelle Tannen. I'm using some new technology on my phone, but I wanted to grab this screenshot. This is actually Atlanta street interviews. I don't want to use anyone's work without referencing them, but this video isn't about the actual video as much as it is my comment thread. Let me tell you niggas something out there in the internet, because I get tired of this shit. No one on the internet gets to control what is said or someone else's impression, no matter how unnice or negative or whatever them filler words y'all use is. This young man that's on the screen is a 19-year-old kid that's homeless in Atlanta. And if you're not watching Atlanta street interviews, you need to be watching them because he's awesome. And I wrote in this comment how I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I didn't like this young man. He's a water boy. And we have water boys here in Philadelphia. Now, this young man is currently homeless, got put out by his mother and grandmother, talking about he ain't gonna do dishes at his grandmother's house and all this other nonsense, living for free. Let me tell you niggas something. 18 is an adult. Any help you're getting from anyone after 18, you should be kissing their feet. You know, the internet, you people on the internet, you think by these videos you know people, or you only have an impression of people. You don't know why my views are the way they are and why Atlanta Street Interview does his interview. You don't know why people think the way they do or behave the way they do or say the things they do. But on this internet, you're only getting an impression in a video of a person. What I didn't like about this young man is what I don't like about the young men here in Philly. At 19, 20 years old, you should be working a job. At 19, 20 years old, a lot of young black people are fucking parents and you outside selling water. It's cute at 12, 13. I used to buy water when I first got to Philadelphia, and some of the kids do lemonade stands. They sell bracelets out here. I'm always down to help the hood because you gotta love the kids. However, oh, and one of my favorites, the boys in Philly, when I got here in 2010, they used to bag groceries and pump gas. These were maybe 10, 12-year-old boys. That was in 2010. Here in 2022, you go to gas pumps in Philadelphia, you got big, grown, rusty 20-year-old, 21, 25-year-old men standing at the fucking pump, almost harassing you to pump your gas. Same thing with the water. And for some of them, if you don't buy from them or don't have them pump their gas, they'll curse you out. And y'all sitting here talking about this kid like he's some angel, like you know him. I'm giving my impression of him. I don't think much of young people that live in their parents' house or grandparents' house or cousins or aunts or whomever, their cousins, aunts, grandmothers or whomever, shouldn't have to ask them twice to do a fucking chore. 19 ain't too young to wash dishes. 19 ain't too young to work a job and go get your GED. Most of us that were born in the 80s, we were taught how to wash dishes at 10 or 11 years old. Some of my peers, I know they knew how to wash dishes before 10 or 11 years old. And this young man has the goal to say, I ain't washing no dishes. To the point, the interviewer even had to say, you young people, you don't have any humility. And that's true. And a lot of these people my age are talking smack to me. Y'all raise these kids. That's why you want everyone to go easy on them, because you didn't raise them. I put in my comment, if you can see the comment, you can read it. This didn't start with this kid at 19. Let's get this straight. Because I've seen these mothers or so-called mothers and fathers in action in the last 20 years. It's all cute when they're cursing, cutting up, not picking up after themselves 2, 3, 4, 5, and you pacified them all them years ago. Buying them junk food, letting them sit on a tablet, letting them sit on your phone, not making them pick up their toys and their clothes and whatnot. But this is what you get at 19. And those of you that have surpassed the age of 19, you know, like I know, time is an illusion. It's a blink of an eye. I don't look at it as picking on this young man. I look at it as being honest with this young man. And that goes for any other young person out here. See, part of the problem is a lot of people my age that are telling me about what I need to do and this and that and the third. You all fucked up when you told these kids that were born in 2000, when smartphones and things started to come about, how smart they were. And this and that. I never said that bullshit. I never said that bullshit. And I never will. because I don't want anybody letting their smartphone be smarter than they are. But he comes off as lazy and entitled, and it sounds like his mother and grandmother had enough of his shit. And rightfully so. Because listen here, it's like this lady told me the other day, and she's absolutely right. You can only blame your parents so much. And one person have wrote, let me bring up these comments so you guys can read them yourself. One person I wrote, I down talked Walter Hampton in Atlanta, which I didn't. I responded to something Walter said. I love Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta a whole bunch of times. Love the underground, Dugan's, wherever. I love 85. I love Atlanta. No, that was a response to something he said that was out of pocket, in my opinion. And then I get, oh, you're downgrading particularly young men. No, I'm not. A lot of you niggas, like the other day I left a comment about something my dad had said, and I posted it, and here comes one of you young black men, I'll say it's black, because I know you're black, Chris Johnson, talking about what my father is, and like I asked him, well, what's your father teach you? Because most of you didn't have a father. What, you think fathers having a father's all nice and shit? It's not. Where do you think I get my hard edge? Dads aren't always nice. Like, if this kid had a dad, he'd be out fucking working right now, because when he was a young kid, when he was a young boy, he would have been made to get up out that fucking bed and pick up his toys, go mow a lawn, go find some way to make money. Speaking of Walter Hampton, I do agree with Walter on that, because much like Walter, I had a two-parent household like he did. And I watched Walter Hampton since 2013. I didn't like what he said about Trump voters killing themselves, and I had just tuned into his video like I've been doing for almost 10 years. So I might have went overboard unsubscribing, because I know Walter Hampton, but I love his work. And a lot of shit that big, handsome gay man says is true about his father, Walter Sr. A lot of y'all needed some Walter Seniors, so you do some dishes at 1920. Or have enough fire in your belly to go get your GED, or work 2 full-time jobs. Then some lady, Yakima Ellison, talking about he didn't want to do dishes for a house full of folks because he's the youngest or the newest. Fuck all that. And them other niggas living with their grandmother too. That grandmother should come into that house and that shit be spotless. 19 ain't too young to understand that. I stayed with a cousin at 19, and that particular cousin right now, you can go in that woman's house and eat off the floor. And when she got in, and I was working and in school, but it was still my job to pick up and clean up and shit. And if she wanted me to do some other shit, whether I liked it or not, I did it. Until I moved into the dorms around this kid's age. Because I didn't like having to listen then. And I don't want to have to listen or get permission now. But if you do have to get permission, you gotta respect other people's houses. I don't know what you niggas think. It's just like the gay guy who got put out by his dad. Y'all seem to think you can stay up in people's houses after the age of 18 and run shit your way, and then wonder why you're on the street fucking homeless. Then you got a bunch of stupid niggas in the comments talking about how young he is and this and that. 19's old enough to do some fucking dishes. I don't care how many people were in that fucking house. Because back in the day, this young man, he should be up out the house any fucking way. Y'all better keep in mind 1970 something, 1980 something, you ones born in the early 90s. Our parents were this kid's age. A lot of our dads were 19, 20 having us. And they still had to work, and the ones that were worth a damn held down their families. Our parents were 19, 20 having us. They weren't outside selling no fucking water bottles. They were working. Again, when it's 12, 13, 14, 15 even, pumping gas, selling water, bagging groceries, I'm with the hustle. And y'all sit up here in these comments thinking you know someone. Like, I don't know this kid, you don't know me. Like I said in my latest video, for a lot of you black people and your kids and this and that, I know I've come out my pockets for black kids in the hood. This hood and many others. I don't mind supporting little black boys if they're pumping gas at 12 years old. I mind it when you're 20. Especially right now in the United States where everything is fucking higher, and there's no excuse for these young men to be standing on corners all day long doing nothing. There's no excuse for this young man to not have his GED or be working on it. And there's certainly no excuse for him not doing dishes because too many people were there. And before that, he has said his mother had put him out because he wouldn't pick up his fucking clothes. 5-year-olds know how to pick up behind themselves if they're trained. 5-year-old babies, you tell them to go pick up their clothes and put them in a hamper. They'll do it if they're trained. And y'all making excuses for this young man. See, that's the problem with a lot of you people. You make excuses for this shit, and then you complain about how society is. Or somebody has a difference of opinion than you. Here you come with this swarm attitude. When I watch Atlanta Street interviews, a lot of y'all down the interviewer in the style he does his interviews. Some of these people need to hear tough love. Some of these people need to hear they're wrong, or things are never going to get better. You black people are full of shit. A lot of you black people are full of shit. I'll put money on it for all y'all giving me this grief in the comments. If that young man was in your house, you put him out within 2 months. Because he comes a dime a dozen. Now, I will say this, and I agree with this. He was failed way before he was 19 for different reasons. But hey, all of us went through something in childhood, and you could either be an adult or a kid, but you can't be fucking both. That's another saying my dad used to say. You can be an adult, you can be a kid, but you cannot be both. At 18, you can enlist in the United States military. You're not a kid. You may be young, but you're of age. And at 19, I find it very disheartening that this kid is so spoiled, he wouldn't do some dishes, and he could have cursed other people out. You know, I would have. But couldn't do the dishes for his grandmother who's coming home from work. Meanwhile, he ain't working. Won't even finish his GED, talking about giving some cockamamie excuse of why he wouldn't finish that. See, this is why a lot of people don't feel sorry for a lot of young black men. This is why. Young black women too, but in this instance, young black men. And I get told about I'm downgrading folks. No. They're putting their business on the internet for people to have an opinion. My opinion may not be the popular opinion, but it's an opinion no less, just like you are. You guys, I need to find a life. That's your opinion. You're just like I think you're lame for having your name be I am. You're not a fucking God. You're not a God. Who the fuck are you? That's my impression, and I see this type of behavior not just down there in Atlanta, up here in Philadelphia. You a water boy at fucking almost 20 years old instead of going to get a job and starting your working career and finishing your GED, helping your grandmother out, helping your mother out. But you getting money and all this other shit. Look at the vainness you people have taught these kids, these young people. They don't have to do too much but can be vain. Can be ungrateful, unappreciative. And as this interviewer said in this commentary, they have no humility. And people my age, I blame y'all for that. Because again, I remember what you were in 2002 when y'all were having these kids. And it was a game and it was funny when they were cursing and cutting the fuck up. Now it ain't funny no more. And a lot of y'all in the comment thread, I know some of y'all got kids. That's why you take it so fucking personally, because you're probably going through the same thing with this young man's going through. I hear the stories. I'm in the streets. I hear y'all. But as long as the internet keeps going, you guys don't have the right to tell another person what to think, what to feel, what impressions to get. Like I don't tell y'all what impressions to get. That's my impression. And yeah, they do need to stop harassing people for their water and their Gatorades and shit. And then when people don't, I know I've been cursed out and I've been polite to these water boys. No, thank you. This and that. Fuck you then. And this and that and other. So don't come at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I keep having to say this to people. I live in 2022 as well. And the years preceding up to it. And again, I'll reiterate, young 12-year-old boys, don't mind buying from you. 20-year-old boys, go get a fucking job. Go finish your GED. Give your mother some goddamn pride so she's not putting you out of her hotel room because it sounds like she's going through something. We're too good to wash dishes. He ain't too young to wash fucking dishes. Are you crazy? Are you nuts? So what's he old enough to do? What's he old enough to do, y'all? Y'all can respond in my comment section. What's he old enough to do? He's too young to finish his education. He's too young to work 2 jobs. He's too young to do fucking dishes. What are these young people not too young to do? Because I keep hearing that. I'm young. Niggas with kids. I'm young. I was young. Well, you're only going to be 19 for a short amount of time. And as I posted in this comment, this isn't going to get better with this kid. You can tell, you can look at him. And speaking of Walter Hampton, according to Walter Hampton in the material, I've watched Walter almost since he's been on YouTube. He talks about this. All the young black men that are begging down there in Atlanta. He talks about that. I don't live in Atlanta. I live in Philadelphia. He talks about all the young men that are in their 20s and 30s, always fucking begging and won't get a job. And I'll put it in his words because it's funny when he says it. They're all in need of assistance. They're all in need of assistance, but always got money for weed and to go out and stuff. That's what Walter said. So there got to be some truth to it because the same shit's going on up here in Philly. And yeah, I'll say it again. He needs to get a job and finish his education, and maybe he'd be more likable. And yeah, if he still had his job at Dunkin' Donuts, I know I would respect him more because that's showing that he cares and he's at least contributing to the people that are holding him down. Y'all think y'all sound good being, quote, positive and happy, joy all the time. You don't. Because understand this, a lot of these young people, just like the people born in the 80s, this shit's gonna get worse. This ain't gonna get no better. Because y'all are still excusing behaviors that shouldn't be excused. And a lot of you, let me reiterate again, and this is especially for I'm like Walter. I had a father in my house. That's why Walter has said the same thing you're saying about me. People have commented about how negative he is and he needs to mind his business and stuff. Y'all just don't want to hear from niggas that had a father. And that's what it boils down to. Because when you have a father, you understand every message that you're supposed to get isn't going to be happy, joy, SpongeBob SquarePants. It's not. It's not. And some messages should be given with some abrasion and some authority. That little nigga needs to get up and go get a job, if not 2 jobs. Fuck working part-time. He ain't doing shit anyway. He ain't even finishing his GED. He's not even taking initiative to do that. And y'all sitting there talking about this kid like he's 13. He's not. He's a young man. A young man that's going to be 20 soon with no education, no job, and he's on the streets. But y'all talking about him like he's some saint. You can tell looking at him he ain't no goddamn saint. If he really cared about his grandmother and mother, he would have been helping them without them having to ask. I don't care how shitty his mother and grandmother are. If any of your parents are helping you after 18, you should be kissing their feet. That goes for grandparents, aunts, hell, foster parents, adopted parents, any other adult that's helping you past 18, you should be kissing their feet, not giving them your ass to kiss. And on that note, guys, I'm out of here. Bye. How do I stop this?